Hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you're watching
The Night Owl.
So I apologize, guys. We're kind of doing our original, what we did in the original videos. We are on our other couch. Bean took over the other one, and then my monopod just blew out on me. It didn't want to work anymore. We still have 4K quality, still using the same camera, same mic. But yeah, we wanted to say hello. Let me just check for our sound. All right, good. We are good.
All right.
Got it. Yeah.
Got it.
So, hello, I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And this is the Night Owl Chicago, an all-inclusive podcast that talks about music, art, and life, and everything in between. So it's 8 o'clock. Grab a snack, grab a drink. Let's do some story times. So I'd like to start first because I think Matthew had the blessing of starting several times for our last few times.
Yeah.
So I think our topics were society and celebrity. So the one I'm going to come up with right now has to do with life and in between. And it's mostly celebrity and, a scandalous story. So I don't know if you guys know who Anna Delvey is. Anna Delvey was born in Russia, and she was born in Russia. She migrated to Germany with her father and her mother. And I don't know exactly the story as to why her father did that, but I think he wanted to start over. There was some, bad things going on back in the day for her, for them and their family, and moving to Germany was a better choice. So they changed their name to a German name. And they kind of tried to get more work out there, just have a better life, as a lot of immigrant parents do with their children. They want to provide them a better life. So, she pretty much had a life of a middle-class upbringing. So she didn't grow up poor. She didn't grow up with a silver spoon in her mouth. She was just like, most people in the middle class in the 90s. And, her parents loved her. They didn't treat her badly. They didn't hurt her. They didn't abuse her. But she wanted a different life. She didn't like the life that she had. She really just didn't think that she fit in anywhere. But she was really interested in fashion. She was really interested in art. And so she took an internship in France. So she was an art apprentice for fashion and for interior design. Now, before that, she did go to a very prestigious school in Germany, for smart kids. So she was very smart. She had a high IQ. And when she went to France, she did her internship there. And then she went to New York and didn't go back to France with the other kids. So she kind of stayed in New York when she was about 23, 24. So that's kind of where she started her new life, her new alias, if you will, her new image, and no one knew who she was. And a lot of people that come to New York, whether they're immigrants, whether they just come from a different state, they want to taste the life of New York, right? They feel like New York is the ticket to becoming famous or becoming bigger than
the American life, right?
Yeah.
That's what many people believe or are sold on, right?
A lot of small town kids from Iowa and Indiana moved there,
anything can happen in
the
U.S. and you can make your own destiny. If you want to be a millionaire or a superstar,
but
your one chance is in the U.S., especially if you are a nobody.
Yeah,
you could do it in the U.S. At least that's what the perception is around the world, right?
I mean, look at Don't Trust a Bee in Apartment 23. That was another show about a girl from Iowa moving to. She was either from Ohio or Iowa moving to New York. She wanted to be a lawyer. Another show would be Kim Possible. She was a mole girl and she went there. Or Unbreakable. I'm sorry, not Kim Possible. That was a cartoon, but Unbreakable.
Yeah, a lot of entertainment. If you're going to be, say, a comedian, you have to go, or an actor, you have to go either west or east. And if you're going east, and you're going New York City, right? Because that's where the action is. That's where you're going to be found.
It's different than LA.
Make it big.
They're gonna spit you out. They're gonna chew you up and spit you out in New York. In LA, you can just kiss some asses and be friends with people. It's about who you know. In New York, it's about what you can do. At least in New York,
you know when you know, right? I mean, they're gonna tell you right to your face and not bat an eyelash, right? That's kind of the East Coast mentality. So
yeah, exactly. You have to have thick skin. So this girl pretty much duped, all of these banks. She wanted to basically start a foundation. She wanted to start an art space for the elite. Okay, so she was 25 years old. She did her networking with people. She went to all the parties, and mind you, this was 2017 or 2014 was kind of when she moved there, and then up to 2018 was when her trial started. 2017 was when her trial started. So during that time, she wanted to kind of start a life for herself. She wanted to grow this business and have this art space for art people in art that were the elite. So have fashion shows, have, art spaces, have musicians, and, just certain things like even hotel space for people that were traveling. I mean, she really wanted to make this space for people that didn't feel like they fit in, the eccentric, the LGBTQ, the people with money. Like, she really went to the right people. But here's the thing, she lied. But I'm going to read this article so that you guys know a little bit more, because the way I interpret it, it might be different than the way Matthew interprets it. We kind of agree a little bit, but it might be different than how you guys mentioned,
right now, there's currently a movie on Netflix. I think even before that,
well, it's a limited series.
So it's a series. Yeah. There was a documentary, I think, that we spoke on probably a while back.
I didn't see the documentary. Did you see that?
We saw.
Yeah, did we see it together?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I watched it. At least I remember watching.
It might have come out after her trial, like right after her trial.
Right around the trial, yeah.
So this article was from Esquire, and the girl who plays her, and her real name is Anna Sorkian. So I don't know if they say the actress who plays her, but she's been in a lot of other things besides Ozark. You guys would be familiar with, the show Ozark. She is the blonde, girl, the blonde townie that helps, Justin Bateman with his enterprise.
Jason, you got it.
Jason Bateman with his enterprise. And, I don't know if she naturally has a Southern accent or if she's British.
No, they've talked about that. She's had to work on both these accents.
Okay, so she's just American.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't know exactly. I've never seen her interviews or anything, so I don't know how she speaks, but she really pulls off Anna Sorkian's accent, like to the T. She's so good at it. Even Anna Sorkian herself has said that this girl has played her very well, like from her mannerisms to like how she speaks.
No, that is definitely
how she looks, how she's, when she's angry, when she's sad, like
nailed.
Yeah, she's nailed
real life person.
And I'm telling you, if they don't give awards out for Ozark, if they do, she needs one for that too.
They win multiple awards.
So this was on Netflix, like you said, Matthew. It's a limited series. She basically moved to Manhattan, and it says that she spent years gallivanting across Manhattan, living in boutique hotels, dining at expensive restaurants, and leaving a trail of suspicious six-figure IOUs in her wake. Now, this was also when Instagram had been out for like about 9 years. Instagram started around, I think Facebook started around 2008, 2009. And then Instagram was not, this is when it wasn't owned by Facebook. It came out in like 2011 or 12. So, they were kind of intermingled by that time. So 2017, was like the height of Instagram. So she was kind of considered this heiress, right, from Germany. And influencers were still a new thing back then in 2014, 15. They were still new. They weren't getting paid. And if they were, it was very small. It was a very small amount of people. Now, I feel like being an influencer is kind of like everyone knows what they are. Everyone knows what
because a lot of those influencers, maybe I'm wrong, I thought a lot of them started up because they were basically trust fund kids.
Yeah, they were just
money to burn.
Yeah,
but now the internet now.
But now it's people who are actually hustling and trying to get sponsors and getting paid as brand ambassadors. Which, I mean, that's what I do, but I don't post it on Instagram. So. It said that she survived off of bounce checks and fake wire transfers in 2017 when she was arrested in a sting operation outside the entrance of the upscale rehab facility in Malibu, California, on charges of grand larceny and theft. Now, in the show, it says that like her friend basically called the LA police on her. This one of her friends worked for Vanity Fair. She supposedly said that she paid for an entire trip that Anna said she'd pay her back on. But then she wrote this article saying that Anna paid for everything. And when she went on trial, everyone was like, oh, well, you're getting paid to write this story about Anna. and you're not out of money. You just made all your money back, and you're saying that you're a victim. So like, and then the banks basically didn't give her. No one really gave her any money. The only thing that she's really guilty of is not paying the hotel. It's like that's shitty. But she never really took any money from anything because everyone just they didn't really know that they could trust a 25-year-old, but they still like listened to her. Now she had a very good business plan. She knew exactly what she wanted to do. She knew how to hustle. She knew how to work hard, but she just lied about who she was, where she's from, and her father being this big business tycoon. And, that's one thing that she really lied about. But they're saying that she owed all this money for staying in these hotels. And she took money from Fortress, which was the investor group that was going to help her with her foundation. But they ended up giving the building to someone else. So, like, I don't know. I mean, I really think that she didn't really do.
One wonders then if she had acquired that building, she could not continue, and it does.
They needed proof of her quote unquote like income or her inheritance.
Like you said, in the end, yeah, was she kind of pulling the veil over or the wool over people's eyes a little bit? Sure, but was she really hurting anybody?
They saw dollar signs too. I mean, they believed her. They believed her.
I'm not sure she actually really, in the end, hurt anybody.
No, and even her lawyer knew that she never even paid her lawyer to get all of this, the ball rolling with her owning this building. He basically strung her along thinking, oh, well, it's going to pay off in the end. She's going to pay me back. So he's an idiot too, because he didn't charge her for the hours that he put in trying to get this investment group to work with her. And they, basically it said on the form that he did not file that she had proof of income because she wanted to pay herself from her own money. She didn't want anyone to invest money in the business. She wanted to pay it.
Confusing that somebody like that had ended up in prison.
12 years.
Somebody like Martha Stewart going to prison for insider trading.
She actually did fuck up.
Meanwhile, there are, all those CEOs of banks and everything.
And how old was Martha Stewart? In her 50s.
They didn't get any prison.
Yeah.
No
in
prison
fact,
time.
the lawyer that was going to help her with this property ended up getting a raise. So, like, they didn't really suffer in it. I mean, the only people that
she did, right? She went to prison.
Yeah, so it said she spent 12 years because she was in she basically went to California after she had been found out, right? So she just fled to California. She missed she ditched her trial or her court hearing because she didn't want to say guilty. She didn't want to take the deal. She wanted to actually change their mind somehow. Because in the show, there's they say that there's parts of it that aren't true. So they put these other characters, like there's a reporter that wants to tell her story the right way. I don't know if that's true, but there are things in there that maybe they try to piece together to say maybe there's people behind the scenes that we don't know about that were maybe like in on this or, helping her. But she ended up going to California and going to rehab because if you're in rehab, everything stops. Time stops. If you're going for a mental health or a hospital stay, you don't have to go to court. Like everything stops. So it's like a safe place. It's like a sanctuary.
So it has been.
It's a way out. It's a way out.
So that's why people kind of look at that, move it with
they saw that as a
little bit, kind of going.
Like, oh well, maybe it's a sign of guilt.
Yeah, it's the sign of that's a play, that's a move.
But also, if you're 25, that's scary. You have all these people after you. It's terrifying. And also, they didn't really want to know why she was lying. They didn't want to. Her family said that she was like this her whole life. They cut ties with her a long time ago. They knew that she was just this person who wanted to escape from the reality she was given. She wasn't really traumatized by anything. She was just a naturally born sociopath. So, and when she was called out, like in the show, when she's called out, she turns it around on you. She gaslights you. She makes you feel like you're the one that's hurting her. So, and Anna there's actually, I'll put the links in there, but there is footage of the interview of Anna in prison saying that like I said, this girl really did do a great job being her. So she went to California, went to rehab, which she probably should have anyway, because she was a heavy drinker. It said that she was first sentenced back in 2019. Then she got COVID, which sucks. So she served 3 years of her 4 to 12 year sentence. She got out early because of good behavior. So she's basically said after she's been released, she settled her debts. She paid a portion of the $320,000 she received from Netflix for the rights to her life story to pay back the $200,000 she owed to the banks. Then she coughed up an additional $25,000 to pay New York State fines. So she's basically just down to a couple $1,000s.
Sounds like she's back to even.
She checked into Nomad Hotel in downtown Manhattan and resumed posting glam shots of her post-prison life on Instagram. She gave countless interviews and made a few bold statements about her experience in prison. On Good Morning America, she claimed that her time in Rikers was therapeutic, quote unquote. She rented an apartment in Manhattan and began promoting a potential new fashion collaboration with the former Hood by Air Design, Paul Cupo. Hood by Air Designer, I've never heard them. She checked in with her parole officer, or she checks in with her parole officer regularly, and she hired a videographer to document her new life. So it says right now, this was like last year, it said in March of 2021, she was arrested by immigration authorities for overstaying her visa, which, I mean, you're in prison for a while. You probably don't remember.
Not working.
And I'm sorry, where's her lawyer telling her this? Why isn't anybody helping her?
That's not.
But that's what your parole officer would tell you. Like, hey,
that I don't.
right?
That I don't know. It would be probably your parole officer would not necessarily know about your immigration status, and you would have thought though, working. Although technically, with those collaboration, what she's trying to do, I think she could have probably have petitioned for an extension on the visa and say, I'm here working, a working visa. I think that's one of the stipulations of those is that you just have to kind of continue to show that you're working. Of course, if it expires, then I think you need a good lawyer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even think she had the same lawyer, because the lawyer that's in the show was actually played by like the guy that's in there is like how he really is in real life. So that guy wanted to kind of retire. Like he wanted to move on to the next thing. He didn't spend time with any time with his family. He skedaddled to Mexico with his family. So whoever she had after she got out is not the same person.
No.
So it said that she had an immigration detainer attached to her name when she was first released from prison, but clearly she wasn't in any rush to leave New York. Why would she? She left it before. Sorokin was scheduled to be deported to Germany on March 26th of last year, but she remains in custody in the United States due to her filing an application for relief, which is essentially legally is for please don't make me go back to Germany, through her lawyer. Audrey Thomas, Sorokin has asked to be granted asylum. So she has a new lawyer, Audrey Thomas. So she's granted asylum. It says, according to court documents, she reviewed by Esquire, Sorokin applied for asylum based on fear of returning to Germany. Which is weird because in the show, everyone in Germany like saw her as a celebrity, but maybe if she like came back, they would hate her because they would be like, oh, well, it wasn't true, it was all a lie. Because she wasn't in prison yet. They just thought she was like this famous person. So I can see why if they loved her that much, that they would hate her even worse. Right? And then you just be like bullied and shamed. And I also think maybe she didn't want her family to suffer either. Even if they were estranged, like if that was me in that situation at that age too, like I don't think I'd want my family to be harassed, because her family was getting like, harassed and stuff when she went to jail. So it said that her family received numerous threats due to the media coverage over her crimes. She said that she fears she will be retaliated against for embarrassing her country. Which, she respects her country. Why would she want to bring, drama over there? So it said that her application for asylum was denied in June 2021, but she was quickly appealed. Despite her lawyer's many attempts to get her released on bond while she awaits a final decision on appeal, she remains in custody in Orange County Correctional Facility in upstate New York. Orange County in New York. That's weird. Why is it in New York? She tested positive for COVID in January and then spent more of a week in isolation. I'm sure I'll live, but I haven't been this sick in years. And then she wrote in an article to Insider, she was still awaiting a decision about her immigration status. So basically it says that she never received a letter in response to her letter for ending from customs because she didn't want to go back to Germany. It says appeals to reissue the decision denying her appeal because she didn't receive notice of the decision until after the 30-day deadline to file. So she never filed in that 30-day deadline.
Technicality there on some paperwork.
Before she can file a timely PFR, though, a BIA has to reissue its decision. So far, they haven't, and ICE has asked them to withhold from doing so. Sorokin pointed out to Insider in her Insider essay, who knows how long it will take to resolve this back and forth, but in the meantime, it doesn't look like she's going to get out of prison. So she's back in prison, and that sucks. I mean, she just got out. Imagine just getting out, like good behavior, and then you go back in for immigration. So that's like a completely different topic that she ended up going back to prison. But like, I think that she didn't really think about the fact that she was an immigrant. I want to know what she was doing when she was like gallivanting around New York. Did she have a visa, just a working visa?
No, like you said.
Did she just never have one?
No, so she came over here probably on a student visa.
Okay, so she just was like, oh, it runs out eventually.
It'll eventually run out.
Maybe she thought she'd get married or something.
Or maybe she thought she'd get married or something.
Or maybe get a business one.
Or never really maybe thought about it.
Yeah. I mean, imagine you're 20 years old. I mean, a work visa you can get. I don't know how long a work visa will.
Yeah, again, you good lawyers, and if you really know, you can do that. Yeah, I mean that's probably how it went. That she came over with a class and never went back. They probably came. I'm guessing maybe they didn't even have a visa. I mean, she may have just come over here, made a new complete identity, and people never really questioned. How come this woman doesn't have a social security number, and what's her background, and who is she? And
someone commented, send her to Canada. We need more like her. We are the Great North. Oh my gosh. A lot of people don't like her though. People say she deserved it. Like I said, I don't think she really did anything. Someone said, why didn't the Wall Street guys go to jail? That's easy to put to jail. 25-year-old woman, men always have the power, and we always knew that. I don't know. She really didn't do anything like wrong. She just didn't pay for. I wouldn't pay for my fucking W hotel bills.
Some laws. But in the end, who did she hurt? Maybe big corporate. And in the end, who's that? And we know that's all right.
Probably knew that too when she was they believed her at 25 years old and they just saw dollar signs just means that New York can be people in New York can be very
greedy. And they didn't care. If it pays off, good for them. If it doesn't,
she could have been a monster. They don't care.
Back and that her loss. Who cares about her? They're willing to burn and churn through people.
Exactly. So I'm going to put the link in here, you guys, so you can see, and I'm going to turn over the story to Matthew. You can read. You can go ahead and talk about your topic here. But I thought that was interesting, just talking about her because. When they brought this back up, it was like, oh, I should do a little tidbit on it.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed the documentary when it first aired, and I know Netflix paid her a boatload of money to be able to produce and make that limited time series, and I've heard a lot of good things about it, especially about the actress that plays her, so glad you brought that up. Mine is news that is more local here, more Chicago-centric. Although I think in the past we've mentioned, right, is it the $20 bill, right, that they were going to change to try to, put Harriet Tubman's face on, which I think would be a really cool idea. Well, here our Chicago public school system here on the north side, we have the Northside Elementary School here on Monday that renamed the Harriet Tubman School. And if you're kind of wondering why or how that came to be, there was a petition put forward to rename the school anytime that there's a current school here in the city that is based on maybe a historic figure that isn't very, part of our ideals, putting people forward, building people up. Then they're always up for negotiation and renaming here. And the students did the research. The students came up with a list of candidates, and then the students voted, and Harriet Tubman is the one that won. So Northside Elementary
I'm excited for that.
She is one of the earliest civil rights activists here. She is part of that Underground Railroad. One there could be quite a few very cool stories you think could do about her as far as what she kind of did and what she means. So I'd still like to see her on the $20 bill. I think, as far as what she means to America, yeah, she's an American hero. I don't know why we need to, not kind of, just because she was associated with the time, that maybe doesn't put America.
I think that she's still relevant. I think she's still relevant, right?
She's a great American hero. She's means a lot, and I think that's very cool. That there we go. So Chicago's seeing some change, right? We got now we have and
we had the Maya Angelou coin too, which is cool. Yeah, Maya Angelou was a
so
activist
to recognize all people of American history, and that includes people of color, which have been sorely excluded for too long.
Well, that actually brings me. I think you did a great segue, Matthew, because that's what I'm going to talk about next. So black hair in schools. I'm going to talk about that because, it's bullshit that, for so long we've had schools, I don't know even just if it's public schools or private schools, but, they were refusing to let kids of color, I can't even just say black kids, but just kids of color that have, that have natural and protective styles, or even just very, frizzy or afro type hair, very curly, very big hair. They thought it was an issue for learning, apparently. So kids couldn't learn because their hair was distracting the teachers or distracting other kids. Or the article here, if you want to read it along with me.
Our ultimate really just goes back to conforming. You don't look like me. I don't feel comfortable like that. I want you to look like me. So let's straighten and get that hair and look like us.
Yeah, well, what are your thoughts about that, man? I'm going to find that one article about.
We've I think brought this up before here. I mean, we've had conversation and known people who have had to kind of change their hair due to either company policy, along those lines. We've mentioned on-air personalities, especially local news and national news. They have to straighten their hair. I mean, and we've made a really big deal here recently when we started to see people of color actually, oh my golly, they are wearing their natural hair.
Did you know I feel like, okay, growing up in the 90s, I don't think I straightened my hair because schools weren't letting me, but I'm wondering, when I went to grade school, it was very predominantly white because I went to school in Schaumburg. But looking back, I'm wondering if I had worn my hair natural, that it would have been a problem. But it was public school in Schaumburg. I don't know. I only straightened my hair because it was just the thing to do in the 90s, right? If you were black, like it was just easier for you to take care of. It had nothing to do with, in my eyes at that time, nothing to do with wanting to look white. Now that I'm older, I was totally appropriating to white culture and not really knowing it, and just making it easier for my white mom to do my hair when she should have been the one to learn how to do my hair. And the black women at the salon should have been putting braids in my hair. They should have been showing her how to do it. Because when I started doing hair, I would show white moms how to do their kids' hair.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those stories out
there. And I didn't want to, I wanted to break that pattern of saying, oh, well, can you give them a relaxer? No, I'm going to show you how to do braids and cornrows. I'm going to show you how to blow dry their hair. I'm going to show you how to do protective styles. Like, I wanted those parents to put in the work because I was only going to see their kids once a week, maybe twice a month. Like, I didn't want those kids coming in every other day and the mom spending tons of money. I mean, I'm just a good person. A lot of stylists see that as dollar signs, right? And that's what they saw. They saw my mom as a dollar sign.
You put good energy out there. Exactly. I mean, again,
I
teaching people and educating people, and that's
so
great.
I've even had black clients that were teachers that couldn't wear their hair a certain way either. So I think that there is that microaggression and that ignorance.
Well, I mean, look at the fact that how many people you've done dreads on, and there's still that stigma about dreadlocks out there.
Yeah, which is weird because dreads are in every culture. They're not just assigned to black culture. They're in every culture. They're Asian, Nordic, it doesn't matter. So this one was from, I think this article was from last year. It said that there's a new Illinois law that will ban the rules on students' hairstyles, but many Black people say that it's coming far too late. And even people on my Facebook page were commenting, like, on my personal page, like, they had no idea that this was a thing. And of course, I had to kind of tamper down my anger because I was like, how do you not know this? But then I realized, well, it was never an issue for them. So,
or it is kind of a thing if you're looking at it from a school perspective.
Yeah, maybe if you're a teacher, yes.
But again,
most people didn't
open
really know.
your eyes and look around. It's not just in school. There are many places in which people have been forced to conform, especially people of color, been forced to conform. I can tell you many stories of plants of people saying, you got to shave, you got to wear your hair like this, you got to do this.
It's unkempt.
And yeah, exactly. That's unkempt hair. Oh, that's it's just ignorance and not understanding. And that's why I think, education goes a long way.
And like what I told you, when I was in beauty school, we learned how to do black hair, but it was like with the hot combs, which I know that when I ended up doing hair, I did work in a black salon where they used hot combs. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not a thing, but I was always the one taking all the black clients. And none of the white girls in my class wanted to do that. They were like afraid. And there was only one girl that did my hair, and she was Mexican, and she loved doing my hair. She thought my hair was beautiful. She was like, I don't want anyone touching your hair, your body. Like, I want to do your hair. So she got it. She figured it out. So this is an article from Urbana. This is like a first-hand account from this one student. So his name is Victor Figueroa. He got home from his private school in Chicago and started to wash his hair. He said he kept finding small pieces of paper in it. Figueroa said that he didn't know where they were coming from. One day while sitting in class, he turned around and he saw students holding small pieces of paper poised to throw them in his hair. Figueroa, who identifies as Black and Puerto Rican, had decided to grow his hair out that year. Although his hair did not meet the school's dress code, Figueroa said that the teachers had been more relaxed about dress code violations that year. Quote, after that, I kind of just started cutting my hair, he said. It wasn't until about 5 years ago that I started wearing my black hair out again. The Chicago private school that he attended had a rule about the students' hair that could not be long enough to touch their ears. Military cut.
Yeah.
Cult? Mm-hmm. Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Figueroa's hair, which grew outward instead of downward, like many of his white classmates, could not be worn in the styles that he wanted to. And granted, in Vietnam, there were a lot of people that, I'm not saying that this is comparative, but there were people that grew out their hair. They were seen as other or different, right? Because they grew their hair out long. Men did that. So they hated that they had to join, that they got drafted and they had to cut their hair off.
Divisions there, right?
So
we've seen that.
I'm not saying I can say that it's just as much trauma because it wasn't race related, but it was still.
There's still that stigma.
Yeah.
Long
taking
hair,
your identity, right?
Hair.
Taking your identity, yeah. So he said that under a new Illinois law, I think this actually was last year. So it said that under a new Illinois law, hair dress codes like this would be illegal, according to Illinois State Board of Education, which is crazy because you're an educator. You should be getting educated as well. The law is named after Jet Hawkins, a Black child in Chicago, who was told by a student that he couldn't wear his hair in braids. Why? The law.
Yeah, I've never understood how someone's hair is going to impact their ability to learn or impact the ability of a teacher to be able to teach. They'll be so distracted by that kid's braids. Oh,
like, sorry. What if you just don't put a fucking shirt on, Miss Teacher, that your titties are coming out? How about that? Anyway, so it said the law bans dress codes that students can't wear hairstyles traditionally worn by people of color, including braids, locks, and twists. Now, someone did comment about saying, oh, well, there were kids that couldn't wear like unicorn hair colors and stuff. I mean, alternative hair, yeah, maybe in Christian schools or Catholic schools or something. But like, I don't think that was every day. I know that some kids had said that they couldn't wear certain piercings on their ears or like their tongue or whatever. But you can remove those. You can take those off. Like you can change the color. You can let the color grow out. Like this is part of your body. This is your body. This is your culture. It's not always a culture for a white person to wear tons of piercings all over their face. Like it's just not. They just want to look different, right?
Yeah, stick out.
So it said that although the new law would outlaw dress code policies that limit hairstyles students can wear, Figueroa said that he didn't believe discrimination He doesn't believe in discrimination against black hair, which he's faced, will end because of this law. So he thinks that it's not going to make a difference. It'll just be something else that they're going to be against. The law can only go so far, he said. There also needs to be a cultural shift as well on how we look at black hair. Just like you said, the schools were like how they should be seeing LGBTQ students and being aware of them, right? And knowing that they exist and that they're around us, that they are, right? And not like trying to say, oh, you can't talk about it.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, right? That new law in Florida that they're trying to pass, don't say gay. I mean, real, I don't understand the laws that adults pass that restrict
about children. That's gross.
I mean, it's so unfair when you really think about, especially the Constitution.
You're taking away their rights.
You're taking away their rights without them being able to say anything.
Well, because kids are property. I mean, they're
supposed to be our greatest resource, and we just
and they're just going to grow to hate us.
And that's what they're going to do. Chew them and spit them out, and then hope that they become adults, and then
we're going to start making them clean chimneys again. That's what we're going to start doing. We're going to be able to chimney sweeps again, like the Victorian age. He said, unless our hair straightened, we got the number one buzz cut, we get treated differently. So he means number one, like a guard, not like the number one, Schools could not dictate what students can and cannot look like. Lamont Holden, a music professor at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, said Holden, who is black, said that there is a lot of pressure for students of color to assimilate into white culture. Self-expression is extremely important to the well-being of students, he said. Even himself, he said, wasn't comfortable growing out his hair and his beard because he didn't want to make white people uncomfortable. We can't control the texture of our hair, he said. We can't control the texture of the color of our skin, he said. Yet, you see how people react to it. End quote.
It's just hair.
Now, Illinois should make hair discrimination at work illegal, he said, Figueroa said. When he was told he needed to cut his hair in order to work at Panda Express, Figueroa said that he refused.
That's next. Yeah.
He said he realized that the discrimination he was faced because of his hair didn't end when he graduated high school. I was just trying to get a job, and you just told me that my natural hair that grows out of my head was the reason why I can't get the job. Now, when I met you...
Not because you can't do the job, not because they don't think you're good enough or you're too slow or you can't learn, because of your hair.
Now, when I was dating you, I worked at Kohl's. I had an afro. Remember my afro?
Yeah, I know.
They gave me the job. There was no issue. And you know why I got it? Because I was good at customer service and good at beauty. That was what I was good at. So that's why I got the job. I had a full-on afro, okay?
I know.
So he said that every time I do something, there's an excuse on why I can't achieve something that I worked hard for. So the Jet Hawkins law will go into effect in Illinois. So that was this past January it went into effect. So, yeah. So, I mean, I just think it's crazy. I think it's nuts that even now it's going to affect you at work. Like it's affecting you at work now, not just, it's crazy. Like even the teacher doesn't want to grow out his hair because he doesn't want to make white kids uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was Middle Eastern. Been the same thing. I can't grow out my beard because I look like a terrorist or something, right? I mean, it's always something with people who are other.
They're always trying to conform or restrict people and silly things.
Silly things. Nothing that is really. But yet there are teachers that are.
Yeah, when it comes to people getting away, taking advantage of people, crippling and murdering, well, that's all right in some cases.
Were teachers making kids reenact the Holocaust? There was a teacher, a sixth grade, or I think she was a fifth grade teacher. She made them reenact the Holocaust.
Yeah, at least they know that it's real. Or the one teacher that kept using the N-word repeatedly and couldn't. She even said in an interview, it was just like a horrible thing gone wrong. She's like, I couldn't stop saying that the kids are just, what are you doing? Stop saying it, white woman.
That's crazy. Did you have any more topics?
That was it.
That was it? All right, guys. So we're reaching on 40 minutes here. So we're going to sign off. But you guys can look at the articles that I put in the description here in the comments. And you guys just keep sending us stories. I actually have a couple of memes that some of you guys sent me under a weird email, but it was fine. You guys didn't. Some of you didn't want me to know who you were, but they were really funny. They're really funny memes, like questions, like what was the dumbest thing you did in school that you got in trouble for, which was really great. So I'll save that for our next audio recording. But yeah, I'm really excited that you guys are sending us stuff still, and we just wanted to make up for last week because we were too busy, and I'm bouncing around between things. So we wanted to tell you guys that we love you so much, and we are so happy that you're watching us, and that you're joining us, and that you are still alive and you're happy. And share this with everybody. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple iTunes. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch now. The Night Owl Chicago, all one word. So we made our Twitch, so now we're on Twitch. So if you guys don't stream on Facebook or YouTube, we are on Twitch. And yeah, we love you guys. We want you to stay safe and stay happy. And we're Goddamn Mask. I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you're watching
The Night Owl.